Hey guys, CJ here with an all-new review for another Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This episode follows last week's kinda lackluster mid-season premiere, which isn't to say that it didn't have its moments, but, almost anything would look pretty lame after that mid-season finale, right? So this is more like a redemption for the premiere and a lot more, advancing several key subplots on the backdrop of an entertaining and interesting main plot. This time, that main plot calls Jaime Alexander's Lady Sif back to the small screen and thrusts her into a conflict with a mysterious hammer-wielding blue man. Now that might sound familiar if you saw a Marvel movie that came out last August. The resulting conflict leaves Sif with amnesia, the source of many of the laughs for this episode, but also the source for much of the intrigue as we find out. We ultimately discover that the Blue Man is a Kree, and in fact he's not even a villain. He came to Earth in search of the Diviners, and we discover that they were placed by the Kree on planets in order to turn the native populace into weapons, as we saw in the mid-season finale. On every other planet it failed, except for Earth, where it worked a little too well. They could not be controlled, creating quote-unquote monsters, to use the Kree's term. He's like an intergalactic janitor. He's seeking to both remove the artifacts from the planets before more harm can be done, but he's also trying to hide the true success of the experiments from those Kree that would use the Inhumans for evil. The episode really picks up steam when the attention shifts inwards with the discovery of Skye's powers by the team. Sif and the Kree team up to try to secure Skye and spirit her away from Earth to prevent harm, while the team, despite differences, rallies around to protect her. This temporary unity wouldn't last, as Fitz and Skye secretly ultimately came back to further divide the team, leaving them fractured in the end of the episode more so than they began. Ultimately, the episode ends with the reveal that Hunter knows and confronts Mac about his and Bobby's subterfuge. Mac responds by choking him out and nervously uttering the one word that was on everybody's mind: shit. Translation: if this episode was too fast for you, strap in for next week, because it's going down, and it's going down quickly, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But, one of my biggest pros is surprisingly the fact that the writers seem finally comfortable now with showing some major strife and struggle within the team, which is something that they had kind of been uncomfortable to do in the past, and they'd been criticized for it in the past in the wake of the big Hydra reveal. I mean, yes, Ward was Hydra. However, a lot of us saw that coming. I mean, Ward was kind of stiff to begin with, but, this is just something like, especially with the fact that everybody makes it out alive, there hasn't been a lot of internal struggle with the team thus far in the series, and it's good to see that actually finally happening. I mean, between Bobby and Mac's secret plans, Bobby pushing Hunter away, Simmons' character's rapid shift towards scorched earth containment policy, and Fitz keeping Skye's secret, this group and their secrets, and everybody has secrets, which is something that should have always been a bigger focus for a spy-centric show. They're now the most interesting part of the show for me, beyond the fantastic handling of the Inhumans and Terrigenesis, which is especially my biggest pro this week with the Kree tie-in. This episode also had some great one-liners, many of them from the stoic Agent May. Specifically, my personal favorite was a tongue-in-cheek nod at Sif's feelings for Thor, or as Coulson put it, the mysteries of the Asgardian mind. Now some cons. Really, one of the more nitpicky ones I can think of is the fact that this episode requires some major suspension of disbelief in parts, specifically regarding Sif's amnesia. It seems a bit selective at times, and often her memory is wiped enough to prevent the team from finding the Kree within the first 10 minutes, but intact enough to provide some convenient leads that ultimately lead them to the guy, but only after they fill up, half the show. However, the biggest negative here is something that AOS has struggled with for a long time, unfortunately. It tends to build up and resolve its plots fairly quickly. In this case, the issue stems from Skye's powers. Now, last week they built it up as a massive secret, one which was big enough that it was imperative to hide even from Coulson or Simmons. The whole plot, which could have easily been stretched for a few weeks, and I would have really preferred that, is resolved by the end of the episode. The only redeeming factor in this case is that it seems to be advancing the tension and strife inherent in the group, and as I said, that is really the most entertaining part of the show. So, tell me what you thought in the comment below. Excuse me, I'm tripping over my words terribly. I am a little bit feverish, still struggling with this infection, but tell me your thoughts on this episode and more in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more news, reviews, everything comics from Hybrid Network. This is CJ signing off, and I'll see you next time.